Local authorities are not normally involved in commercial operations such as this, in particular ones that are associated with the oil industry.
It never stops. Every day is different types of ships come in. You never know what's going to come throughout the day, so each day is different.
We can provide the benchmark for other harbour authorities and to take up globally.
Orkney Harbour Authority is one of the 3 largest harbour operations in Scotland. With a gross annual turnover of £25 million, is an integral part of the island's economy and provides and maintains vital infrastructure connecting and sustaining local communities.
It's clearly looking after, in the first instance, a range of ports which are lifeline to the island community. So that's for trading within the islands and trading to and from the north of Scotland. So it's essentially a lifeline, ferry services. But the harbour is also a major economic beneficiary to Orkney itself. We run some fairly high-level commercial operations, a lot of cruise liners, we have an oil terminal and a lot of oil tanker operations in Scapa Flow, which is the largest of our harbours, the largest natural harbour in the Northern Hemisphere. So it's a real range of internal ferries all the way up to some of the largest ships in the world.
Over 30,000 vessel movements are monitored annually within the harbour area.
Most of the ships that we've got coming in here is compulsory pilotage. Anything over 65 metres must have a pilot on board, and the bulk of the ships that's coming in here is well in excess of that. We've got everything for large cruise liners or cruise ships coming in to very large crude carriers, 333 metres long. Massive ships can take 2 million barrels of oil. Well, in the winter time it's maybe not quite so bad, but in the summertime we might have up to 3 or 4 cruise ships coming in. We might have a floater tanker going alongside, and we might have a ship-to-ship operation pending as well. So we always have 2 pilots on duty 24 hours a day. The VTS up the stair is manned 24 hours per day. We've got to make sure that we get our timings right to make sure that the pilotage can be done on all the ships as they come in. So we'll sit down before summertime and go through all the cruise ship list, make sure there's no pinch points in there where we need more pilots, in which case we'll take more in for individual days. Most of last summer we had 3 pilots on duty all summer for 24 hours a day. It's really the only way we can do it with increasing cruise ships as they come along.
Orkney welcomes over 140,000 cruise passengers a year. Monitoring all this activity requires constant vigilance. This is the primary task of vessel traffic services.
We run the VTS here. Mainly the service we offer is an information service. So we provide information to the ships so they can make on-board decisions and, relative to the safety and navigation of the ship. It's a pristine environment and we want to keep it that way. So, we do act in a professional manner. The backgrounds of all the VTS operators here, we've all been in command of ships, so we're familiar with the area, we're familiar with the operation of ships, and communication's the key, of course. Keeping in communication with people before things start to happen. We should be monitoring the screens all the time to prevent things from happening.
And monitoring is an integral part of the entire operation here.
I'm Jenny Kakkonen and I work as a marine biologist with the Orkney Harbour Authority. The Santico sampling program is generally just look at any spatial and temporal variability in the macroinvertebrates, and that program has been running since 1974, before the flottile terminal was established. So we're basically looking at if there's been any environmental drivers changing the macroinvertebrate populations. I've been analysing some of this data for the last couple of years. Fortunately, we haven't found any variation from the 70s to now.
The Harbour Authority is a major local employer. Maintaining 29 ports and harbours, along with associated infrastructure, requires a significant effort from over 115 employees. And the Marine Services Department operates a large and diverse fleet of its own vessels.
We have 15 vessels in total, 9 ferries, 3 tugs which are based at Scotland, and 3 pilot launches, 2 pilot launches behind us, and you'll see the seagoing ships which service the outer North Isles, and we have 6 more specific to the inner islands, different vintages, different types. Seagoing to inner isles are distinct type of vessels.
And the diversity of this fleet puts Orkney in a unique position, at the forefront of trialling new technologies, making vessels more efficient and more environmentally friendly.
Because we're in a sort of integrated service, we're able to bring all these parts together. We've been looking at steps either with the newer reduced carbon fuels in the way of like your LNGs or maybe even your methanols, and exploring all the options. But at the moment we're gaining a bit of traction on hydrogen, so we're looking at all the aspects involved in getting hydrogen onto a vessel. Over at the other side of the pier is a unit called Surf and Turf Rig, which is quite unique, which uses hydrogen for supplying shore power to these larger vessels when they tie up at night. So we're converting hydrogen into electricity to supply to those vessels overnight. That was a stepping stone to 2 other projects which are coming to fruition. One is to put hydrogen on this vessel at the side of us, the Sharpensea, which is to explore all the difficulties surrounding getting hydrogen storage onto a vessel. Further ahead, we're looking at being involved in the High Seas 3 project, which is a full-on fuel cell hydrogen zero-emission vessel, which is also planned for the Sharpensea route. These are the projects at the forefront, but there's a number of other ones which we're involved in around the periphery as well.
Scapa Flow is becoming increasingly popular as a base for rig and platform project maintenance. And, being strategically placed between the North Sea and the Atlantic, Hatston Pier is ideal for the fast turnaround of oil and gas support vessels. An experienced local marine supply chain is another major benefit to industry. Partly driven by Orkney's place at the forefront of developing marine renewable energy, a wide range of vessels and support services can be supplied, servicing all sectors. And that experience, across the board, is what sets Orkney apart from other ports.
The strengths are largely in the people, the skills that we have, the years of knowledge that we have, and I've got a range of people, some of them who understand the Orkney waters intimately. I'm ranging from people who've worked here all their lives and know it inside out to other people who've come in from elsewhere in the industry, and they've brought up-to-date skills. So it's having that breadth and depth of skill, and indeed some fresh eyes as well. You sometimes do need some fresh thinking to come in, particularly in this sort of environment. And I think we've got all of that.
There's been a 200% increase in crude oil ship-to-ship transfers on Scapa Flow over the past 3 years. The deep, sheltered waters are swell and tidal free. Once again, this is an operation where experience is invaluable. Experience and meticulous planning.
For all ship-to-ships, we do a pre-planned meeting, every single one. We sit down with the pilots, the mooring master, myself, Brian, tug superintendent. We sit down as a team, get the agent in, and we discuss the whole thing, when we're putting the fenders out, when we're going to put the ships together, when we're going to take the ships in, and it all centres around that. So it's all done by planning.
These harbours support a wealth of activity from recreation to aquaculture, alongside traditional industries such as fishing. But where will we be heading in the future?
Obviously the ferry services internally and the lifeline services across to the north of Scotland down to Aberdeen, that's a sort of core of our business, and that will continue. But apart from that, for many years we've been really very dependent on flotta, the oil terminal at Flotta, and that will slow down. It's inevitable. It already has slowed down since the busy days of the 1980s. So we have to make sure that we're doing other things within the oil and gas market. We've developed a cruise industry much better and further than anybody else in Scotland, and looking at other business opportunities in renewables, low carbon economies, low carbon transport, and other aspects of making best use of Scapa Flow, the deep water of Scapa Flow, and where we sit in the world trade routes. So it's looking at all of that so that as we move forward, as one area of business starts to diminish, we've built up a reputation for doing other ones well, and therefore keep this economic activity and flow of income to Orkney going into the long-term future. We have to do that. We have to diversify.